It's time to grow and scale your coaching business the impact-driven, simple and sustainable way. Welcome to Rising Coaches with Sofia Bernardi. I'm your host, Sofia, mindset and business coach, supporting ambitious new and rising coaches to master their mindset, create an aligned and profitable strategy, and grow a six-figure business and beyond using the Rising Coach method. I built $1 million business by the age of 26 in under 4 years, and I've coached hundreds across the globe to build incredible businesses that create freedom and fulfillment whilst having a whole lot of fun along the way. And in this podcast, I will teach you the mindset, strategy, and energetics to do the same. Let's dive in. Guys, we've made it. We have officially come to the end of 2023. Can you believe it? I don't know about you, but this year has absolutely flown by, and I could not be more excited to be reviewing my 2023 with you. Personally, these are some of my favorite episodes to listen to on other people's podcasts, and it's something I have done every single year, so I'm excited to do it again. My intention is also for 2024 to actually share the journey each month for next year as well, so that there's more frequent updates to be able to look back on where I can actually dive deeper on the specifics of each month. Because when you're reviewing an entire year, one, there's only so deep you can go, but two, it's really hard to remember everything. So I just went back through my calendar and looked at the year I've just had, and I've taken a whole bunch of notes down, and I'm so excited to share with you all of the things. So the way I'm going to structure this episode is I'm going to be summarizing each quarter of 2023, both personally and within my business. I'm also going to be sharing the biggest highs and the biggest lows because I'm all about sharing both. I'm going to be talking about whether or not I reached the goals that I had set for myself at the beginning of this year. And there's a whole podcast episode on that where I shared what those goals were. So you can go back and listen to that if you're super curious. And I'm also going to be sharing a summary of the words that I set for this year. Because I like to set a theme or a word or a couple of words for each year, and it's beautiful to see how that unfolds when you're really intentional about it. And then in a couple of episodes time, that is where I'm going to be sharing my 2024 goals and word for the year and all of the juicy things, and I'm extremely excited about that episode as well. You know, I just love listening to these kinds of episodes, so hope you're in for a wild ride, whether you're walking or driving or sitting at home or whatever you're doing. Listen in. It's gonna be a great podcast episode. And if I'm completely honest, half the reason I do these episodes of like reviewing my years or sharing my goals is actually for myself. I love to listen back to these episodes because I'm so honest and transparent. I know that what I say and how I say things is a true representation of where I'm at in that moment, and listening back to that is so beautiful to see the growth and the expansion and the transformation in that time. So listening back to these episodes just brings me right back of where I was at that specific moment, and I find that to be so powerful. It's a bit of like a journal for myself. Like, I am obsessed with goals, guys. I plan my goals, I review my goals every week, every month, and every year, and that is why I believe I have such an incredible life, because I'm really intentional about that process. And yeah, I'm super excited about this. So let's dive on in my 2023 year in review. So let's start with summarizing each quarter to the best of my abilities. So the first quarter of 2023 was honestly me prepping to move to Brisbane. So for context, if you're a little bit more new in my world, I am born and raised in Adelaide, South Australia. So down south in Australia, it's been my home. Yes, I lived in Denmark overseas in Europe for 4 years, but other than that, my whole life has been in Adelaide. And yeah, it's my home and I absolutely love it. And towards the end of 2022, actually, my partner and I started discussing about moving over to Queensland, which is a different state in Australia for those that aren't Australian. And it was a big discussion back and forth, or many discussions, should I say. And I've always actually loved Queensland and envisioned living here, so it's quite funny that I now live here. But it was something we were talking about at the end of 2022, and then it definitely became more real as the months went by. And so that first quarter of 2023, I spent selling belongings, removing things from my home, just being a lot more present in my world, knowing that I was potentially going to move and have to say, see you later to my friends and family and things like that. So when I think of the first quarter of the year, it was definitely like, I remember like living in a very empty house, and I remember spending so much time with my friends and just enjoying Adelaide. And that was a really beautiful and spacious quarter of my year. And that was really beautiful. And then it was right into the second quarter that we then moved to Brisbane, which is, the capital of Queensland, and got settled in there. So yeah, that was the first quarter, was prepping to move to Brisbane, spending a lot of time with friends. In terms of business, I ran an in-person workshop, which was so much fun, and I still get compliments about it today from the people that attended on how much it actually helped them to set their year up for success. So really, really happy about that. It's so cool to do in-person workshops and retreats, and I hope to do so much more of that in 2024. So beautiful first quarter. Second quarter, moved to Brisbane, and honestly, I was so nervous about the move. Even though it was something I felt good about and I wanted, I was just nervous because I loved my life in Adelaide. And I finally just had amazing friends and just an amazing life, and it felt so strange to then go ahead and leave that. But I really did a lot of mindset work around it, and I got comfortable with it. And, luckily I wasn't doing it alone. I was doing it with my partner, Geordie, and we were just in it together. But I just reminded myself that actually, I've created such an incredible business that I have the financial freedom and ability to fly to Adelaide whenever I want. It's just a 2.5 hour flight. That is possible. And I just had to remind myself of that anytime I want to go back, I can. And I told myself that I was going to fly back every second month. And I can say that on average, we probably went back more than every second month, to be honest. I've gone back there so much, and so because of that, I honestly never went through that period of missing Adelaide, missing home, feeling left out, or needing time to adjust and settle into Brisbane. I settled right in. Thankfully, I knew a couple of people here, not many, but it's amazing what one or two people can do and how that can have such a beautiful ripple effect. So I settled right in because Alex, if you're listening to this, she's one of my best friends, and she just helped me settle in so much. And it just, I'm fucking grateful for her, not gonna lie. She introduced me to all of her friends who are now my friends, and very, very lucky for that. So I actually give a lot of credit to Alex for why I didn't have that adjustment period. It's so funny because Alex has a podcast as well, and we always reference each other in our episodes, and we listen to each other's episodes, and then we text each other being like, oh, just heard you mention me or whatever. And so she's gonna be listening to this, and she's gonna laugh and text me. I know it. So just had to share that. That made the biggest difference. So honestly, I settled right in and had the best freaking second quarter ever, because Brisbane or Queensland is a lot warmer than Adelaide, and that's heading towards winter here in Australia, and I lived my best life. It was not cold at all. In fact, at the time of recording this, I'm sweating. It is so hot here. It wasn't necessarily super hot in winter, but it was definitely warm. I've never been cold here once, which makes me really nervous for January, February. Apparently that's the worst months here in terms of humidity and heat. So wish me luck, guys. I'm very nervous about it. But my point is that, I'm used to really cold winters in Adelaide, and all of a sudden I was just living my best life while all my friends in Adelaide were freezing. So I just couldn't get over that. And I just was obsessed with Brisbane. It's such a beautiful city. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see my Instagram stories every day of filming the river and the bridge and the beautiful city and the lights. And it's just incredible. And I've been here for 7-8 months now, I think. And I am still obsessed. I'm so grateful for where we live. And it's just awesome. So loved it. The third quarter of 2023 was focused on my business growth. I feel that's where I started to I've obviously consistent in everything I do and was focusing on business no matter what, but definitely I found more spaciousness to focus on business now that I had settled in more so in Brisbane and all those sorts of things. So I focused on business growth, as always focused on client delivery. And I was traveling between Adelaide and Brisbane a fair bit in that quarter as well. I also had a week girls trip to Darwin, which for those that are not in Australia, again, it's at the top of Australia. We had a week girls trip and it was so much fun. And then towards the very end of the third quarter, and I think it also, fizzled into the fourth quarter as well, but I did my hypnotherapy training, which was a 4-day training. And then I did my NLP master's training, which was a 10-day training. So that all happened in the third quarter, which was very expansive and fun, but also very full on. And then the fourth quarter, which we are technically still in, got a couple weeks left, was focused again on business growth, client delivery, plus finalizing this year's goals and really stretching as much as possible for that and starting to plan for next year, which is what I've been doing in these last couple of weeks. And because like I said, I take it very seriously and I'm so excited. Now, out of all of that, here are my biggest wins. So my biggest wins is 2023 was the year that I reached my first $1 million mark in sales and in Australian dollars within my coaching company. So reached my first $1 million to date, which was super exciting. And now we've well surpassed that. I also moved interstate with my partner, as I said, and the expansion that moving created for us individually and as a couple was incredible. And the other high of this year was really the relationships that I either created this year or deepened this year with my existing friends. And the gratitude is just there. It's really there at such a deep level. I don't even think my friends will realize how much they mean the world to me. Plus another high or win, I'll say, from 2023 is I experienced more freedom than ever before. Sometimes I've been bored with the amount of freedom I've had, and it's just not something I've had at this level ever before. There were many weeks where I just had nothing on my calendar really, other than a client call here and there. I've just had a lot of freedom and I've really enjoyed it and loved it because that was a reason as to why I created my business, or a byproduct anyways of my why. So that would be that. Then the biggest... I'm dedicated to providing you with as much valuable free content as possible to help you to grow and scale your coaching business sustainably. That's why I'm constantly rolling out new resources and events for you. To ensure that this podcast stays fresh with the latest offerings, I've compiled all our current free and paid offerings in one convenient place. Simply head over to www.sofiarosebernardi.com/links or follow me on Instagram at Sofia Rose Bernardi for the latest offerings. Thank you so much for being a part of this community, and let's get back to the episode. That would be that. Then the biggest lows of the year, I'm going to be completely honest, there's not many this year. This year's been an incredible year. And you know me well. If there were really shitty things, I would tell you. I'm so transparent, but I used to try and look for things to be more relatable and share all these bad things. But actually I've realized recently that, one, that's not necessarily that healthy, and two, there isn't that many bad things. And so I don't want to relate to really shitty things and have to pretend to lower myself or whatever. I'm not saying I'm not going to have more bad years. I've definitely had moments and years that have been, harder than others, but I do have a pretty optimistic mindset, and this year was a good year, and I'm fully owning that is safe and okay, and something for people to look up to rather than look down upon. Had a great year, but my lows were, and it was probably something I more experienced in the fourth quarter, more than other times in the year, but I noticed my nervous system felt a bit dysregulated, not in a dangerous way, but I guess I became more self-aware in the process and realized that how important nervous system regulation is, and how I was probably operating from a bit of anxiety, just because as you grow and scale, you're not only holding more of the good, but you're also holding more of the bad, more client problems, more money problems or whatever else. And nothing catastrophic, but I just noticed that I became a little bit reactive to external situations and realized that, that's not healthy long term to be so reactive to every single external situation in my life. And I really needed to focus on regulating my nervous system. And I feel so like fine owning this and sharing this to like A, normalize it, but B, like I always do something about it. So I'm never in a victim mentality mode, like ever. And so straight away when I became aware of that, like I've hired a breathwork coach, I have a kinesiologist. I do a lot of inner work to do that. And I've put practices in place to really regulate my nervous system more. It is a journey, but I feel better, absolutely so much better than I did even just a month or two ago. My business really scaled in the second half of the year. Like I had some pretty big months and a lot more clients on board, and that's all a positive thing, like all great. But with that, your nervous system has to kind of catch up. And when you have these big leaps, like it can just take a moment, it can just take a moment to regulate. And I don't think many people speak about that, but that's been my experience anyways. And so that would be the biggest low, is my nervous system. And then the second thing that was a bit of a low was also just recognizing some people pleasing patterns I had, where I was like bending over backwards a little bit for certain clients where there may have been like a trigger there, or I just felt like I needed to please them or whatever. And honestly, that's not on anyone but myself. Like that's been my own work that I've had to do, where I just realized that, yeah, I was people pleasing a little bit. And then I started to get a little bit annoyed with myself, because I do give more than the average program that supports, coaches with a similar thing to I do. And I like wore that as like, some, on like, what's the word? Like award, or I thought that was so special. But then I really learned, in the fourth quarter of the year that actually like, there's probably a reason why people don't just like give so much. And so I realized that boundaries is important, expectations is important, standards is important. And because I was, I didn't really have many boundaries in place and things like that, that just gives space for people to, walk over you a little bit. And I think I'm not wording this that right, because I certainly haven't had anything, like I'm not thinking of any specific situation whatsoever. There was nothing big enough to like be a true problem. I just noticed like little nudges of this. And I'm the type of person that I would say is a very self-aware person. And so when I notice anything that doesn't feel 100%, I lean into that, because I have a high standard for myself and my life, and I want to be a good example as well. And I deal with it. And so when I say people pleasing, like take it with a grain of salt of like, I wasn't doing that at like a chronic level. I just noticed traits and patterns of it. And I noticed how not only does that not serve me long-term, but it actually doesn't serve other people long-term either. And so just tidied that up a bit, especially as I had some big jumps in my business, like positive ones. I just noticed like now more than ever, it matters that I'm super clear and articulate with like what they can expect of me, and also what I expect of them. And that's been really, really helpful. So that's honestly it. Overall, I summarized the year as spaciousness, freedom, travel, abundance, simplicity, quality over quantity. Like they're the words that come up for me when I think of 2023. Like definitely spaciousness and freedom like was a big one. Now, I'm going to share with you a breakdown of the two words that I set for 2023. So I set the word simplify and amplify as my words for 2023. That's what I wanted it to look like. And that showed up in the most beautiful way. And so I've got a whole list written here of things that I did in regards to that. So let's dive in. So for simplify, I decluttered my entire home. As I told you, when in the lead up to moving interstate, I sold a lot of our belongings and decluttered a lot of things, and it felt really good. I let go of an appointment setter. So I spoke about this like at the beginning of this year as well, but like I had a team member who was like helping with like messages, like more colder outreach, which didn't feel that aligned, but I had to experience that to realize that. And that was like taking up a lot of bandwidth in 2022, and letting go of that, or simplifying that area of my life, like felt very expansive. I simplified my programs a lot. I simplified my social media. I simplified my lifestyle. Like I sold my car before I moved interstate. I left the gym before I moved interstate. And I also simplified like the strategies in my business, which made it a lot more simple. I simplified the investments I had. So I've got a lot of shares and I sold the ones that don't feel like a match and I put that money into other shares. So I simplified that. I let go of some people, not too many, but a couple of people, some beliefs and energy that didn't serve me. I muted everyone on social media. I don't follow many people to begin with, but I actually muted like 90% of the people, and like nothing to do with them, but everything to do with me just not getting distracted. And I also simplified like my business like funnel and things like that. I also decluttered more belongings from my home, even here in Brisbane. I decluttered and simplified my digital space. Like I deleted a lot of old files that I'll never use again. I did an audit of my social media and my business and actioned that. I solidified and simplified my non-negotiables for the day. And yeah, that's everything that I simplified that I can remember, which is incredible. Now for amplify. So for me, this is like, I wanted to simplify so that I could amplify all areas of my life. So basically improve the quality. And this list is long, so buckle up. Firstly, I got Qantas Club, which if you don't know the airline Qantas, it's like a plane flight airline or whatever, where you have like a business lounge. So you pay a membership per year, and then instead of like just sitting in the foyer area of the airport, you get to go into a nice lounge where there's food, there's nice chairs, it's quiet, there's coffee, it's all complimentary in there. And that was such an expansive decision for me. And yeah, I'm so grateful for it. And I thought it would be good. One, because I get to do that now. And also with me moving to Brisbane, I knew that I was going to be flying a lot more. And so I just thought I would do that. So I purchased that, moved to Brisbane. That felt like a big, leap. In the best way. I upgraded all of my belongings. So like I said, I sold a lot of things prior to moving, and then I purchased new things when I moved, and it was like higher quality things and better things. So I really feel like I amplified the furniture and the belongings that I have. I had an amazing photo shoot, like such an epic photo shoot. I had a couple, but like there was one that very much comes under the category of amplifying for sure. It was very next level. I upgraded my brand in my business. I booked a lot of holidays. I started getting food deliveries. So I have like food meals like made and sent to me every week, or most weeks, should I say. And that felt like an amplification because it's high quality meals where the macros are all tracked and all these things being sent to me, and I don't have to do it. I invested in quality over quantity, so I'm very mindful of that now. I worked at cafes a lot, so like as in not every time I say that, people think I mean like working like at the cafe, like as in making the coffees. And what I mean is like I brought my laptop and bought a coffee and worked from cafes, and I loved it. I actually learned a lot about health and weight loss and all of these things this year. Not that I felt like I needed to like lose a whole heap of weight, but just like the education around that just gave me a whole new level of awareness, and I have lost weight, and it's, it's felt really good to like just have more understanding about how the body works. And I also like really improved my relationship with Geordie. Not that it was bad before by any means. I feel like we have such a beautiful relationship, but it just felt like something shifted moving here to Brisbane, and we're just more in love than ever before. So that's that. I also amplified my network, like especially moving to Brisbane, like meeting new people. I grew my reoccurring revenue. I got laser hair removal. I got my eyebrows tattooed, which is so good because I don't wear makeup ever. I don't do much beauty stuff. And so, but my eyebrows are like a feature that I really care about. And my friend told me that she had got her eyebrows tattooed and she really recommended it. And so that's really cool that they're just a little bit more defined and put together, and it's really beautiful. I reached the $1 million mark in my business. I added an extra weekly episode to the podcast every Thursday, a little 5-minute snippet episode. I bought a new laptop, and yeah, went to Fiji for a week with Geordie for our annual holiday. And yeah, that's it. I'm probably missing a few things, but as you can hear, I simplified a lot and I amplified a lot, and I just like can't believe how consistent I was with those 2 words that I said at the beginning of the year. So goal setting is very tangible and specific, and then words are a lot more general and broad, and it's just really beautiful to see how it unfolds in the most bizarre ways. So that's that. Now, just to wrap up this episode, did I achieve my 2023 goals? So I just listened back to bits of the episode that I did at the beginning of the year or the end of last year where I mentioned what my goals were going to be for 2023. And the first goal I said was to have my first $1 million year. And I did. I haven't made $1 million in a 12-month period. I've made $1 million to date. And I'm unsure what I meant when I said that goal, because there's a big difference between the two. But either way, I crossed the $1 million mark, and I'm going to claim that because that is what I said in the video, and I'm so freaking happy about it. So that was my business goal or my wealth goal. And then the second goal that I had said was to love my body on the inside and out, feel energized and confident and all of that sort of stuff. And I definitely love my body a lot more than I did 12 months ago. Like I said, I just educated myself so much, and through the work that I've done, I've just noticed my body shape has changed a little bit, but in the best way. It's because I'm all about sustainability. I don't do anything drastic. So I'm on a really good trajectory, and I'm just going very slowly, and I like it like that because I'm all about the sustainability. So I am going to say that I did reach my 2 goals. I mentioned in that episode whenever I did it, 12 months ago, that there was some bonus goals that I wasn't sure about, but I still shared, buying a house and investing a certain amount in my shares. I invested a lot in shares, but I'm unsure on the exact amount, to be honest. And then my other goal that I said very loosely that I wasn't sure about at the time was to buy a house, but I was right 12 months ago. I was unsure about it, and I'm sure that I don't want to buy a house right now. That's not something I've even attempted to move towards because it's just not something I'm wanting to do right now, but you never say never. So yeah, in a couple of episodes time, you're going to be learning my 2024 goals for the year, and my word for the year. And I'm so excited for that episode. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, so you get to hear that, because the way that I'm going to articulate it is going to be really helpful for anyone that maybe needs a little bit of guidance choosing their word or their goals for the year, and how I do that, my mentality, how I'm feeling about it, any fears. I'm going to be sharing all of the things. And then, like I said, my plan for 2024 is definitely to share a lot more of the journey along the way for my own accountability and journal reference, but also to help other people that want to stay on track of their goals. So the podcast is taking a very positive turn for the new year, and I could not be more excited, and I would love to have you along with me. So please share this episode with anyone that you think will get value out of it. If you're not yet subscribed, please do so. If you've never reviewed the podcast, please do so. And if you just want to share this far and wide with anyone you think might enjoy it, please share it on your Instagram stories, or feel free to reach out to me with any suggestions of topics or feedback or anything like that. It just means the world to me. So I hope you loved my 2023 year in review. I'm very grateful for the space to be able to share this with you and feel so safe to do so. And I'm so excited for what is to come. I'll see you in the next episode. Although I can't see each one of you, I know you're there because of the downloads we see each week, and I appreciate your presence immensely. If something in this episode resonated with you, I'd be thrilled to hear about it. Connect with me on Instagram at Sofia Rose Bernardi. Share your key takeaways or simply say hello. Your thoughts mean the world to me. Remember, it's your feedback that keeps this show going. Until next time, take care.